Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We are diving into the world of consumer behavior in the digital age today. You know, that PDF everyone's been talking about.
The one promising to make us masters of the digital marketplace.
You got it. And because who actually has time to read a whole PDF these days? By the end of this deep dive, you'll be up to speed on what's changing and how people buy things online, why it matters for businesses, and, let's be real, probably even your own online shopping habits.
Think of this as your crash course on not only what's different about shopping online today, but how those changes are affecting everything from marketing to just like scrolling through the internet without feeling like someone's reading your mind.
Okay, so the PDF jumps right into talking about the informed consumer, which seems kind of obvious, right? We've got smartphones, we can Google anything.
See, that's the thing. It's not just about having information at our fingertips. It's the amount of it that's out there and how accessible it is. Like, imagine 20 years ago, if you wanted to buy, say, a new TV, what did you do? You went to the store, you talked to a salesperson who, let's be honest, was probably trying to get you to buy the model with the highest commission.
And you probably made your decision based on whatever brochure they were pushing that day, right?
Exactly. Now you can just pull up reviews, compare specs across brands. You could even be watching an unboxing video before you even leave the house. It's a complete flip of the power dynamic. Consumers are walking into stores or, opening up their laptops, knowing more than ever before, which means businesses are constantly trying to keep up.
Which leads right into why this PDF is saying that brand transparency is so important now. Like, all of a sudden, every company's dirty laundry is just a click away.
And consumers are really starting to pay attention. What are your products made of? Where do your materials come from? Are your labor practices ethical? These aren't just nice to haves anymore, they're deal breakers.
And all of that feeds right into that whole personalization thing we see everywhere, right? Because on the one hand, everyone loves a personalized experience.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
When Spotify gets your Discover Weekly playlist just right, or Amazon suggests something you didn't even know you needed.
Like they're reading your mind, right?
Yeah.
But it's not magic, it's algorithms. And you know what those algorithms love? Data.
Which brings us to the other side of that, the personalization paradox. We love the convenience, but that creep factor can get real fast.
It really can. It's that icky feeling when you realize Facebook is showing you ads for stuff you've only talked about, not even searched for. That's where, again, that demand for transparency is huge.
Right. It's like, okay, fine, you can use my data to make things easier for me, but I better be able to opt out if I want to.
And it's a tough line for businesses to walk, figuring out how to personalize stuff without being creepy. How can you use data ethically while still making the experience better for the consumer? It's a balancing act for sure.
No kidding. Especially with the way technology is changing how we shop. This PDF uses that term mobile first, but honestly, it feels like we're basically already living in a mobile-only world.
I know what you mean. Think about the last time you actually sat down at your computer to buy something. Ordering food, booking flights, even just buying groceries, it's all happening on our phones.
Confession. I totally may or may not have bought a new pair of shoes at 3 a.m. last night because Instagram decided to show me an ad for, well, the exact pair I've been wanting for weeks.
And that's the thing. We've become professional instant gratifiers, and businesses know it.
It really makes you wonder, though, is all this accessibility making us more impulsive? And if so, is that something businesses need to think about, or are they low-key taking advantage of it?
That is the question, isn't it? And one we'll keep digging into as we go deeper into the crazy world of the digital consumer.
Okay, before we go full existential crisis on everyone, let's switch gears and talk about a trend that seems kind of strange in this world of instant gratification, the rise of the subscription economy. Why are we suddenly paying monthly fees for everything from streaming to razors to pre-portioned meal kits? It doesn't make sense.
You're right. It seems counterintuitive, but subscription services are absolutely everywhere. This PDF argues it's not just about convenience, though that's definitely part of it. It's this desire for predictability, for a curated experience without having to do all the work.
Right, like that whole set it and forget it thing. You're not even buying a product or service anymore. You're buying into a lifestyle, a community.
Totally. You're part of the Netflix family, the Spotify crew, the Dollar Shave Club. Maybe not a family exactly, but you get the idea. They're tapping into that human need to belong, even if it's just through a brand.
Plus, there's that whole thing about letting someone else make decisions for us, right? I mean, who has time to research every single streaming service or meal kit option out there? It's like having a personal shopper for your whole life, which, I don't know, is kind of amazing and a little terrifying at the same time.
It makes sense though, right? We're constantly bombarded with choices, so subscription models offer this way to simplify, to just like opt out of decision fatigue. But again, it comes back to trust. Consumers will only hand over the reins if they really believe a brand gets them, gets their needs, their values, all of that.
Which brings us to this other huge piece of consumer behavior online today, the focus on ethical and sustainable consumption. It seems like every other day there's a new story about some company getting called out for bad labor practices or destroying the environment.
And it's about time. Consumers aren't messing around anymore. They want to know the brands they're giving their money to are actually companies they'd want to hang out with.
Yeah, and the PDF really stresses that this isn't some small trend anymore. It's consumers saying, this is what we believe in, and we're putting our money where our mouths are. People are demanding transparency, and they want brands to prove they're legit.
And they have more power to actually hold brands accountable now than ever. Social media, online reviews, you name it, people can broadcast their bad experiences with a brand far and wide.
So you can't just slap eco-friendly on a label and call it a day.
Nope, not anymore. Consumers can smell BS from a mile away. Transparency is key. They want to see those receipts.
Okay, so with all that in mind, how are businesses supposed to keep up? It feels like they're trying to balance providing these awesome online experiences while also being ethical and sustainable, and
It's a lot.
it is.
Yeah.
And it's not getting any simpler. But that's what makes this whole world so fascinating.
It's like we're all figuring this out in real time, businesses and consumers alike, trying to figure out how to make technology work for us, not the other way around. Well said. And that takes us to another fascinating part of all this, how the lines between the online and offline worlds are basically non-existent now.
Totally. It's like the digital and the physical are merging right before our eyes. You're walking down the street, your phone buzzes with a targeted ad for a coffee shop you're about to walk past.
Or you're at home asking Alexa to order more laundry detergent because you're like 3 episodes deep into a Netflix binge and haven't moved from the couch all day.
Or how about this? Your fridge tells you you're low on milk and suggests a brand based on what you usually buy. It's super convenient and kind of creepy all at the same time.
It really is. It's exciting and a little unnerving to think about where this is all going. But one thing's for sure, the future of how we buy stuff is tied to how technology evolves.
Yeah.
It's only going to get more complex, more connected, and a whole lot more interesting from here. It really is kind of mind-blowing how fast things are changing. I mean, we're talking about our refrigerators judging our snack choices now.
Right. But hey, that's what we're here for, trying to make sense of it all, one targeted ad at a time. Speaking of, how are businesses supposed to handle all of this? This whole digital consumer landscape, it's a lot to take in.
It really is. This PDF, Consumer Behavior in the Digital Age, keeps coming back to this idea that businesses have to be ready to adapt, like, constantly. It's not enough to just have a website or a Facebook page anymore.
It's like that old saying, adapt or die, but for the internet age, which is somehow even scarier.
You're telling me. And that's where this whole data analytics thing comes in, which I know can sound a little Big Brother-ish, but it doesn't have to be that scary.
Okay, break it down for me. What is data analytics really?
Basically, it's just taking all the data that's already out there, and businesses are already collecting a ton of it, believe me, and using it to figure out what customers actually want and need. Think of it like this. Every time you click on a website, buy something, even just browse for something online, you're leaving a trail. And that trail tells a story.
So it's less about being creepy and more about using that information to actually make things better for people.
Exactly.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
Done right, data analytics can help companies create more personalized marketing, improve their websites, even predict what people will want to buy in the future.
Okay, that makes sense. But it's not just about getting the data, it's what you do with it, right?
100%. And that's where user experience comes in, or UX. It's making sure that every interaction a customer has with your brand, online or offline, is easy, makes sense, maybe even fun.
Because we've all been there, right? You land on a website, it takes forever to load, nothing makes sense, and you just give up and go somewhere else.
All the time. You've got like 3 seconds to grab someone's attention online, otherwise they're gone. So businesses need to make that whole online experience, from browsing to actually buying, as smooth as possible.
So it's more than just having a pretty website. It's about the whole experience being good.
Yes. And that's where things get really interesting when you think about how the digital and physical worlds are blending together. We're seeing more and more businesses use technology to bridge that gap.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples.
Well, have you seen those interactive mirrors they have in some stores now? You can like try and close virtually, get style recommendations, even order something to be shipped to your house if they don't have your size.
Oh, right. Or even just those apps that let you order your coffee ahead of time so it's ready when you get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning. As technology gets even more advanced, we're going to see even more ways for businesses to create that seamless experience between online and offline.
Okay, so we've talked about data, we've talked about design, making the experience good. But how do businesses actually get people to stick around? How do you build loyalty in this digital age?
$1 million question.
Right.
Honestly, a lot of the fundamentals haven't changed. It's still about good customer service, having great products, and creating a brand people actually connect with.
Sure, but how do you do that online? It's not like you can send a handwritten thank you note with every purchase anymore.
Maybe not a handwritten note, but the idea is the same. It's about those little things that make people feel appreciated, like they matter.
So how are businesses doing that? Spill the tea.
Engagement is huge. Social media, for example, is a really powerful tool for building relationships with customers. And I don't just mean blasting out ads. It's about really listening to what people are saying, responding to their comments, showing that you're actually paying attention.
Creating a community around your brand, right?
Yes, where people feel like they're part of something. And this is even more important now because of online reviews. One bad review can go viral in seconds, so businesses need to be on top of addressing concerns, showing people they're listening and trying to improve.
It's like they're under a microscope 24/7.
Pretty much. And that's where that human touch we were talking about is so important. As smart as technology gets, it can't replace actual human connection.
So even with all this technology, it still comes down to people relating to other people.
Totally. Tech can help those connections happen, give them a space to grow, but it can't force it. Building trust, creating a brand that people feel good about, that takes real human effort.
Which brings us to another thing that's clearly important to consumers in the digital age. This whole focus on sustainability and ethical business practices.
And it's about time.
It seems like every day there's a new story about some company getting called out for doing something shady.
Rightfully so. Consumers are tired of it. They want to know that the brands they're buying from share their values.
This PDF makes a big deal about that, saying that it's not some passing trend. It's consumers saying, this is how we're living our lives, and we expect businesses to catch up.
And they have more power than ever to make businesses do just that. Between social media, online reviews, investigative journalism, consumers can find out pretty much anything they want about a company with a few clicks.
So it's not enough to just say you're an ethical, sustainable company. You actually have to walk the walk.
100%. People are smart. They can spot a fake from a mile away. It has to be more than just a marketing tactic. It has to be part of your company's DNA.
It's like putting lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig.
Exactly. Consumers want the real deal. And in the age of instant information, it's pretty easy to figure out who's faking it. Transparency is everything.
Okay, so how do businesses balance all of this, giving people this amazing online experience while also being ethical, sustainable? How do they make it all work?
Honestly, it all starts with being genuine. Consumers can spot a phony from a mile away. So if you're going to talk about sustainability and ethical practices, you better be ready to back it up. It's not easy, that's for sure, but it's not impossible either. And that's kind of what makes all of this so interesting, right? Figuring out how to navigate this new landscape where consumers are demanding more from businesses than ever before.
It's like we're living in a science fiction novel, except it's actually happening. What used to seem like something out of the Jetsons is just like our lives now.
I know, right? And that's what's so fascinating about studying how people behave, especially when it comes to technology and consumption. Things are constantly changing, evolving. New trends pop up out of nowhere.
So, where do we go from here? What does the future hold for the digital consumer? Got any predictions?
Well, if we go back to this PDF we've been talking about, consumer behavior in the digital age, it seems like the main takeaway is that we all need to be ready to adapt. Businesses, consumers, everyone. This digital world is like a moving target. You got to be ready to pivot at a moment's notice.
It's like we're all learning a new dance, but the steps keep changing every 5 seconds.
That's a great way to put it. And that's where that human element comes in again. Data and algorithms can only take us so far. You need that human intuition, that creativity, that ability to connect with people on a deeper level to really get it right.
So you're saying the robots might be coming for our snack choices, but they're not quite ready to take over the world just yet.
Not just yet. But in all seriousness, it's those human connections, that genuine empathy, that really makes all the difference. Because no matter how tech-savvy we get, we still want to feel seen, heard, understood. We want to support brands that actually reflect our values, and we want experiences that are enjoyable, even meaningful.
It's that balance we're always talking about, right? Between the convenience of technology and the things that make us human.
Exactly. And finding that balance, figuring out how to make it all work, that's going to be crucial as we move forward. The more we depend on technology, the more we have to think about the potential downsides.
Things like data privacy, those biases that can get baked into algorithms, the possibility of technology being used in ways that could be harmful.
Right. Big issues, definitely no easy answers, but these are conversations we need to be having.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
Because the future of technology isn't some predetermined thing, it's what we choose to make it.
So where do we even begin? As individuals, as consumers, how can we help shape a better digital future? One where technology is used for good.
It starts with being informed, really understanding how technology works, how our data is used, being aware of potential biases.
So doing our homework, asking questions, not just blindly trusting what tech companies are telling us.
Exactly. And then putting our money where our mouths are. Supporting businesses that share our values, demanding transparency and accountability. We have more power than we think.
It really does feel like we're at this pivotal point, like we have a chance to build a digital world that works for everyone.
We absolutely do. And it's up to all of us to make it happen.
Wow, that's a great place to leave it, I think. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of the digital consumer, here's something for everyone to think about. What kind of digital future do you want to be a part of?
And what are you going to do to make it happen?
Love it. Lots to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll see you next time for another adventure into the constantly changing world of business and beyond.